Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, September the 12th. It's going to be a very active week astrologically. There's some pitfalls, there's some real positive opportunities, but keep in mind, Mercury, decision-making, discerning Mercury, is retrograde until October the 2nd. So you could be assuming the worst when there is more stressful aspects, or you could be expecting too much with the positive. So you got to just stay focused and level-headed. Now, on Monday, the moon, the moon represents the overall public response. It's in enterprising, fiery, courageous Aries. Their impulse to go for it. But remember, Mercury's in retrograde. But the moon is going to be by early afternoon in harmony with stabilizing Saturn. So that'll keep you grounded and perhaps even asking the right questions. So you don't assume too much, you don't assume the wrong things. On Tuesday, the moon will enter into Taurus at around 4 a.m. Pacific time. Prior to that, the moon was void of course. Now, that moon, when it goes into Taurus, very different from Monday with the moon in Aries, because the emotional response with the moon in Aries is more impatientness, more restlessness, more goal-oriented. Then for these Tuesday and for the next couple of days, with the public response in Taurus, Taurus is more grounded, more calming, more steady. However, mid-afternoon Pacific time, the moon will cross over once a month, unpredictable, exciting Uranus that could trigger some unexpected emotional upsets or getting really excited and wanting to get out, try something all new and adventurous. But with Mercury in retrograde, again, mid-afternoon Pacific time, you need to just think it through and make sure you're not overly reacting and making assumptions. By late afternoon, around 5 through 6 p.m. Pacific time, the moon will be in a difficult angle to Saturn. Moon-Saturn, there could be feeling emotionally frustrated, emotionally worried. Maybe that's because just a little bit earlier, the moon with Uranus was creating these unexpected upsets. And with Mercury in retrograde, maybe you are assuming the worst. And so from 5 after 6 p.m. with the moon to Saturn, you may be looking at your situation with the glass half empty as opposed to half full. On Thursday, the moon is void of course in Taurus, so stay the course. Don't try anything new. From 5:59 a.m. Pacific time to 1:16 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon goes into Gemini. When the moon was in Taurus, it's very steady, it's very calming. When the moon goes into Gemini, we can walk and talk and chew gum at the same time. With Gemini, there's a lot of restlessness, jumping from one idea to another. A lot of the mind is very active. But Mercury retrograde, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and now with the moon in Gemini, you may be all over the place. So meditation, exercise, slow it down. But it could be good for studying, because the mind with the studying needs to stay focused. Now, on Friday, Venus, pleasure-seeking romantic Venus, will be in tension with Mars, impatient Mars. Now, that could trigger some sensual, passionate energy, but it could also create some jealousy, tensions in the romantic area of your life. On another level, with the Venus can rule money, there might be tensions, stress, or arguments about money. And maybe with Mercury in retrograde, you're assuming the worst. Because also on that day of Venus-Mars, the Sun will be opposite Neptune. Opposite is interacting with others. With the Neptune, there may be this misunderstandings, this confusion, or you find out there's been some secrets going on, and that could create the upsets romantically or financially. And the moon in Gemini will cross over impatient Mars and squaring Venus by around 6 p.m. Pacific time for those next 2 hours. So it's a Friday evening, beginning of the weekend, and there could be a lot of passion, excitement, but remember, you could be jumping to conclusions. So just calm it down, but there can be a very beginning of a lot of exciting activities for the weekend. On Saturday, the moon will be in tension with nebulous Neptune early afternoon, about 1 p.m. to 3 Pacific time. That can be emotionally being out of focus, being unsure, misunderstandings. And the moon will go void of course from 2:52 p.m. Pacific time to right after midnight till 12:59 a.m. Pacific time going into Sunday. So with the Mercury in retrograde and all day, the moon is void of course. You just need to stick to your routine, pace yourself, don't introduce anything new. That could be a good time for just walking in nature, meditation, calming the mind. On Sunday, now we have one of the best days of the week. Discerning Mercury will be interacting with Jupiter. The only downside of that could be having inflated expectations. But you'll be feeling really optimistic, good for traveling, good for education. But why you will not, for the most part, you may not have overinflated expectations is because also that day, the Sun will be in the best flow of energy to Pluto. Sun Pluto is where you're feeling really empowered. You want to go deep for the answers. You don't want to just, it's that Mercury Jupiter on the worst could just being overly excited, thinking about all these positive possibilities. And with Mercury in retrograde, overinflated expectations with the Jupiter, with Mercury in retrograde. But the Sun Pluto says, no, let's slow it down and go deeper and see what's really going on. So this could be a really powerful day for making, for education, publishing, writing, teaching, and a lot of soul searching. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.